Digital Media.
Come on!
Broadcast Hippo Digital Media.
Where's Andrew?
Uh-oh, I don't know. Andrew.
Oh, Andrew, where are you at? Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Hi.
That's great, Andrew. You just ruined the whole podcast. Thanks.
Andrew, where is he? I don't know. Andrew, where is he? I don't know.
Sorry, guys. Oh, and I got Nicole in here. There she is. Woo! What a morning.
Y'all right?
Already. Well, let's do this thing. It's the Cedar Point podcast, Friday, June 17th, 2022. This is episode number 18. Nicole, our executive producer is here. Dave Chapman, our amusement park expert, is here from Amusement Park Portal. We got Dylan here, and we got a show to do. Welcome, everybody. So anyone going to Cedar Point this weekend? I think we're going on Father's Day for is it Gay Day, right?
Did you say gay day?
Isn't that what it is? Dave, come on. What's wrong with everybody? There was so scared.
I've heard about that in the past. I don't know. I've never been on Father's Day.
Is that a
I
rumor?
didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a rumor. I thought it was a thing.
No, I think it's celebrating Pride on Sunday. So
okay, that's what I thought.
I should be there, but I'm not going to be there because I have some people to celebrate.
Oh, yeah. So I think we're gonna go on Father's Day and hang out at Cedar Point, taking the kids, and good times will be had by all.
We'll actually be at Kings Island that day. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're starting off a road trip Sunday.
I know. So the road trip is starting off at Kings Island then.
It is. It's starting off at Kings Island and ending at Cedar Point. So.
Oh,
nice.
Cool. And how many parks? So for those who don't know, Dave's taking a summer road trip of amusement parks. How many parks? What parks you going to?
We are doing 10 parks in 2 weeks.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's quite the venture.
That's very.
We're starting out at Kings Island down in Cincinnati. Sunday. I got to do a wedding tomorrow night, so then we got to get up super early, drive all the way down to Cincinnati. Then we're going to do King's Dominion the following day for 2 days at that park. And then we're going to do Busch Gardens, 2 days at Busch Gardens, Virginia, Williamsburg.
Virginia,
We're going to spend a 2 days in Williamsburg. Okay. We're going to do Six Flags America, which is in Maryland. We're doing Six Flags Great Adventure, which is in New Jersey. And they have a ride taller than Dragster there, too, by the way, I got to add. Then we're going to do Dorney Park and Sesame Place, Pennsylvania.
Isn't Dorney Park where Demon Drop is now?
It is. Where Demon Drop is now. We're doing that. We're doing Knoebels, the one with the carousel with the rings we were talking about last week.
Killer Ring.
We can't wait for
that one. Then we're doing a park called Darien Lake in New York, and then we're going to hit Cedar Point on the way home. So,
wow, that is ambitious.
I would love to come on that tour with you.
You'll go with me, Dylan. What time should Dylan be at your house, Dave?
Yeah, that's like.
Oh, we're going to be leaving quite early in the morning because it's about a 4-hour drive to Kings Island for us. We want to be there at opening. So,
speaking of parks, this past week we had some record temperatures, like on Wednesday. And did you see Cedar Shores? Man, capacity this week.
Yeah, it was quite busy. It was. I guess the parking lot was full. They were parking people in the overflow lot up front and shuttling them back. And what I heard that they actually had to close the gate because they hit capacity for the water park.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard the same thing. That would have been a good day too to just take advantage of the beach area. I don't know if enough people do that. I love the beach there at Cedar Point. I think it's probably, we talk about underappreciated spots. I think the beach is probably one of the underappreciated spots. There are times where we would just take the family just to go to the beach. Like we wouldn't. Yeah. And then we would go in and eat at Cedar Point because we had the passes, but it ended up being a family beach day. And I know Donnie does that a lot as well.
Yeah,
I've
that's what
never even
started
been
it
on
all.
that beach. I've never even been on the beach. Like I've looked at it, but I've never actually been on it.
It's nice, man. Yeah, you really should check it out. It's such a good spot, and that's probably if the it was the water park was crazy, I would have just gone to the beach because it's just such a great, like, an underappreciated spot for sure.
That's what I
Yeah,
was wondering. Was the beach crazy? I don't think we had anybody in the park this week, but I'm wondering if the beach was crazy
Yeah,
because the water park was full. So
right. I don't know. I
you're
didn't.
gonna get some nice cool water in Lake Erie on that beach. So that water's still gonna be chilly.
That is
So,
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I imagine it was pretty busy.
So we talked about understaffing last week. The understaffing continues. More complaints are coming in about slow check times at Cedar Point resorts. When they're waiting for their bills. Gasser complains took 4 hours after check-in on time to get into.
Yeah, I was reading. This gentleman put a pretty scathing review of Hotel Breakers. He goes, the resort is beautiful. The room was beautiful once he finally got into it. The staff was nice. He goes, but he was supposed to check in at whatever time, and I think he said it was like 3:00 or something like that, and he wasn't able to get into his room till after 7:00 at night.
Oh, man.
He had his 2-year-old with him, and it's like 90 degrees out, and they didn't have tickets for the park that day, or they weren't planning on going into the park, so he was just driving around Sandusky in the car to keep cool.
Now that he says that, I've had we've stayed at several resorts around there, not always Cedar Point resorts, but we have stayed at Cedar Point resorts as well. And check-in time does take a long time. Even under normal circumstances, it's almost like the check-ins at 4:00. Well, maybe stagger it. Hey, the check-in for these rooms are going to be this time. Check-ins for these rooms are going to be this time. Maybe have the water park available. There's just maybe some things that they need to rethink to take.
Well, yeah, or at least comp them a ticket to the park or something
That's
for their
what I
trouble
was
to wait. But I mean, I didn't have any issues. We checked into Breakers Express last time, and I didn't have any issues checking in. I got right into my room.
You know what might be a cool idea? I don't know if they could, but is what if they had a check-in for the Cedar Point resorts at the park, so you could go straight to the park. You could still check. Well, I guess what would you do with your luggage? Everyone's carting their luggage into the.
Yeah, but what'd you do with your luggage?
no, you have a bell. They have bell services. Like
Yeah,
Disney,
they have bell service. They will hold your
you
luggage.
can take your luggage right to the bell services, and they take care of it, and you get to go on your day. So that was one of the awesome things about the Disney Magical Express, because they would get your luggage from the airport to your room, and you never even dealt with it. So you could get off a plane and go right into a park.
Well, you mentioned Disney. We had an issue at Disney. Matter of fact, checking in one time, our can't remember if the room wasn't ready or they were having a computer issue. They couldn't check anybody in, but it was like about a 45-minute delay, and they're like, "We're so sorry." We were at the Caribbean Beach Resort there, and they comped all of us, our whole family of 5. They comped us our lunch at the restaurant right there inside the hotel, which ended up being like $150 or something like that. There are. I'm like, wow.
See,
this is awesome.
That's a park that you talk. It goes beyond, like, customer service goes beyond. I don't know if we could say that about Cedar Point. I don't know. I mean, what would you guys say that that customer service is a huge priority for Cedar Point?
Yeah.
I hate to say no, but in some aspects it's bad. Yeah.
Well, has anyone, like, when I say that, like, you have issues and you go to somebody and they don't want to give you anything. They don't even want to acknowledge their customer service is not, I mean, it must be a directive from the company, because I mean, your people can only do what the company allows you to do. So customer service, I just don't feel is one of their top issues.
Well, I'll tell you, there was an incident a few years ago. I had some family members went to visit the park, and there was a group of like 7 or 8 of them, and they had bought Fast Lane when they got to the park for all 7 or 8 of them. It was almost $1,000. I remember they spent just for their family on Fast Lane. And they got into the park, and it was so busy that all the fast lane lines were like an hour plus long. They weren't too happy about that, after spending $1,000, on this. So they went to guest services, and they never even apologized or like, hey, or now all they did was gave them a coupon for half off their tickets next time they came. That was what they would give them. So,
Jeez. Right. Yeah. Gee, thanks. Nicole, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say that, like Disney gives carte blanche to make the customer happy, and people know that. People know that experience. They expect that. So I am kind of a customer oriented person, and I just think that is always the best way, because you get free publicity, you get that, good karma out into the world. But for those check-in situations, these people that are waiting 4 hours, 5 hours for a room, I believe they should be comped tonight.
Yeah,
that's what I think. At the very least, an evening park pass, or something like, at the very least, dinner, maybe, okay, we'll send you some Domino's to your room later, or just at the very least. This is just not acceptable.
Even hey, here's some tickets for a dinner at one of the restaurants, just something like that. They got to figure that out. There are a lot of options to just not do it the old way. There are a lot of options.
Back to Disney again, we had an incident there several years ago. We were staying at the Polynesian Resort. It's like their Hawaiian themed, beautiful resort.
Yeah, it is.
We checked in, got into our room, and there was a cabinet door broken. I don't know how they missed it on their way out, but the door was just hanging there. They had one of those like big, tall dresser type things.
Oh,
and so I went down to the desk to complain and tell them, and they're like, "Oh my God," they were so apologetic. They upgraded our room because we had like the cheapest room there. They're like $600 a night,
Yeah.
And so they upgraded our room to.
I wasn't going to say anything about you big stuffing, Dave. I wasn't going to call you out on big stuffing on your Polynesian resort, but since you brought it up again.
The one time we went to Disney.
Things are a little tighter today, believe me. Well, they upgraded our room at no cost to a suite, a water view suite that overlooked the castle.
Damn.
So the castle was like right there, just because the cabinet door was broken. It was like, wow.
Right. Well, just let you know, Nicole, we went to Disney, and it was their glorified motel, which is really, what is it, they put some characters up there. It's really just a motel. They give it a fancy name. And
in California, it's a different game over there. California, you get your Days Inn. That's an affiliate hotel. You get the Nights Inn.
Good Neighbor hotels.
Good neighbor hotels. Thanks, Dave. I was not clicking on the terminology, but
it's funny because
the room is $50 a night. So
right, I grew up in California, and true. Once Disney was up, then all the stuff goes up around it that's not Disney. And the one thing that Walt regretted was not buying more property, so he didn't make that mistake in Florida. He made sure he didn't make that mistake. So you can't drive 10 minutes and you're still something that's owned by Disney.
The funny thing about that, Andrew, you mentioned that, is when they were buying the land up in Disney, they went under false names like Cherokee or something like that, so that nobody would catch on that Disney was buying the property. And then try to buy around it. If they found out Disney was buying the property, the land value would have shot way up.
Absolutely.
So they did it under false names, and he'd send people out there to, to buy it. But
that's interesting.
But here's the bottom line on the Cedar Point stuff. Throw a family a $50 comp, like a gift card for one of the restaurants. Right. Send them for an evening pass to the park if they don't have park tickets that day. I feel like these are simple, basic, cost-effective ways to recoup that. Just it's service recovery, it's customer service. It's
the other problem, Nicole, is if you continue to do it the old way, which is do nothing. It's not. You have to be far-sighted as a company to realize the one time, yeah, you can continue to screw people one day at a time, but eventually the reputation is going to catch up with you, and that you cannot fix once you lose it, which is the big problem.
Right.
And the thing with Cedar Point, we're kind of comparing Disney, and I guess that's not fair because Cedar Point is seasonal. They got 5-6 months to make their money.
Mm-hmm.
Disney's year round, so I'm sure Disney or Cedar Point rather is trying to squeeze every penny in they can during those months.
I understand that. And that's so it kind of leads into one of the things we were going to talk about anyways, of like, why do people come to Cedar Point? But that's what keeps people coming back. If people are coming in for coaster credits or, one-time experiences, they might make a special trip back another time if they're across the country, if they get really good customer service and they feel taken care of and things like that. That's how I feel. And people are so easily, people are so easily like, not what's the word I'm trying to think? Satisfied. I said, like $50 for a gift card to dinner.
Well, yeah, when you're spending $200-$300 a night on a hotel room, you would expect,
And you being a customer service expert, Nicole, you have.
I wouldn't give myself that title, but
sometimes it's just giving a shit. It's like sometimes it just takes that. Like, man, and being sincere and genuine and giving a shit. Sometimes people are satisfied with that. They just want to be heard. They want you to understand that what you did was wrong and maybe an apology and understand and be heard. A lot of times it's as simple as that. And then you need steps to go from there. But sometimes it can be that.
I'll talk a lot less if you throw a $50 voucher in my face. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, sure. He's sympathetic.
Shut up, buddy. Now go away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And like you said, it's cost them very little for, again, goodwill and a good, because there's nothing worse when you're checking in that it starts off your whole experience bad. and then some of the other things you look over, maybe you start to be like, oh, now you start to compile it and it hurts your trip, and it's just bad all the way around.
That's what I was saying. You're also in that public space where you've got other people waiting that are also unhappy. So then you start, the whole energy gets elevated in a negative way, and you risk a riot. I don't know. I'm a worst-case scenario kind of person, and we don't want
not a very good start to your experience either. That's your first impression of the Cedar Point experience is your check-in. If you're staying there, and it's not a good way to start things out. Yeah. So
yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's talk most people have seen the video or maybe not seen maybe you chose not to see the video because it's pretty disturbing, but heard about the Tyree Sampson. He fell out of it's called the drop tower in Orlando. I
know it's disturbing, but I actually did see the video.
Oh, it's just sorry. It really is. So the autopsy has been released. Obviously the death was caused by blunt force trauma because he was thrown from the tower. His weight was 383 pounds, 97 pounds over the weight limit of the ride. His parents have since sued the ride's owner, manufacturer, and landlord, claiming they were negligent and failed to provide a safe amusement park ride. Some people carry their weight better. How? Dave, you were a ride operator. How do you judge people? Like, are you going to call them out? Hey, you're too big to ride this ride. I mean, you're going to put a scale there.
Well, couple things. Most of the coaster entrances, they have a test seat out there where you can test. Sit in the seat, make sure the bar comes down to where it needs to go down to before you wait in line and get into the ride. And that saves not only yourself, but the ride operators issues, holding up the ride or embarrassment for some people too. Some people are just not built to ride the rides.
Right.
So
there's that.
Go ahead.
This wasn't the ride operator's fault then? It was just that he was too big for the ride, or?
There's been no determination of that from a legal
standpoint. The thing is,
Hi,
There
Blue.
goes my cat again.
Now we got Blue's ass in the video.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought here now. Okay, so with that, the Orlando incident, that was a combination of, I think, it was mainly, it wasn't the manufacturer, it was the people running the ride altered the manufacturer's settings on that.
Right.
Which I didn't know you could do. I mean, I thought it was once it's set, it's set, but apparently you can change them, which voids all warranties and everything against the manufacturer. I mean, the manufacturer says, here, this is what that has to be set at.
Right.
It has to be within these perimeters. And, well, the maintenance department at that park altered the settings on it to where they weren't supposed to be. In addition to that, I mean, I saw it, and the guy was clearly too big to ride. I mean, the lap bar was up, you know. I mean, it's just unacceptable. If I were a ride operator, I would not have dispatched that ride. Yeah. Even if the computer would have allowed me to, I would not have sent it like that. And it's just mind-blowing that they did not have redundant seatbelts on that thing, you know, to prevent that. And people don't realize the seatbelts aren't just there to help hold you in. The seatbelt is actually a measuring device to where if the seatbelt doesn't buckle on those things, then the bar is not down far enough. And that's to tell the operator, hey, you know, the bar's connected and the bar's down enough. You'll notice on some rides, remember Wicked Twister had like the two settings on the side, the seatbelt?
Yeah.
Where you could plug it in. Well, if you couldn't plug it in over there, you couldn't ride. That means the bar wasn't down far enough. And I think Corkscrew has that on it also, where if it's not down far enough, over-the-shoulder harnesses, pretty much all rides with over-the-shoulder harnesses have that. Have the belt on it, and if the belt won't buckle,
so what is
most parts? Actually,
well, what is the redundant restraint for the one at Cedar Point? It's the bar.
The bar is the main safety feature. It's a ratchet system, like a ratchet, click, 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 and it won't unlock until it's released by the operator. You know, but you have to have so many clicks on it for it to lock properly.
Right.
And you have to have a couple clicks on it because if one click failed, you got another click above it to stop it. You know what I mean? You can't just have one click. So that's why the belts are in place to make sure you have the proper number of clicks. And it's almost, I don't want to say measuring device, but it kind of is to make sure the bar is down far enough.
Right. So it's got the bar and it's got the bar and the seatbelt. So the one in Orlando just had the bar and no seatbelt.
Yeah. Right now, Jollywood Park has a tower by the same manufacturer as the Orlando one. Now, after the incident in Orlando, they closed their drop tower down, and recently they just added seatbelts. It's still closed. I don't know if it's real yet, but they just added seatbelts to their drop tower now too.
They added seatbelts that it's closed. Oh my god!
It surprises me. It surprises me that they didn't have the. I'm guessing everyone that's got that tower now would probably need to add that second restraint, which I mean potentially could have saved this guy's life if.
Oh, absolutely, it would have. Yeah.
It would have.
We wouldn't have rode in the first place because the belt would never have reached.
Right.
You know, to latch.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So that's why I'd say it was kind of a combination of I don't want to put all the blame on the ride operator because he was just doing his job. There was no belts. The indicator light came on saying, "Hey, the seat's locked." You know, but then, you know, it's the maintenance department at that particular park. It's on them.
I mean, I feel like the individual who adjusted that restraint and whoever gave that directive, I mean, I don't know how there's not any kind of recourse on them as individuals.
Oh, there will be. There will be, I'm sure.
So
it's crazy. All right, so let's switch topics.
I just wanted to give that update because there was some new, you know, because we did find out he was almost 100 pounds. This wasn't a 15-pound. This wasn't 50 pounds.
Well, and here's what I want to say too. So, Dave, let's say he did fit in the restraint and whatever. Okay, but he was, let's say the weight of the coaster is 300. Okay, you weigh 400, but you can still get the restraints closed. So it goes back to my point. just because you can get it closed doesn't mean you're still underweight. You could carry your weight differently.
Though, with those rides, if you're that heavy or that overweight, you're not going to fit. I mean, that's just the nature of it. The seats are shaped. The seats are a certain size in that to accommodate up to a certain weight. If you're above that weight, most of the time you're not going to be able to fit properly. You can tell by looking at someone. The bar's not going to come down all the way because if you're that much, you're just built to where the ride's just not going to accommodate you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask somebody, hey, how much do you weigh?
Right. I know that's what I'm saying. It's getting into an awkward situation for the ride operator.
Yeah.
But if you only have to go by the restraint, then it's obvious. It takes the guessing game out. If the restraint closes, you're good. Yeah. If it doesn't close properly, you're not good. And then you don't have to know their weight necessarily. Right. All right. What is the switching topics? I thought this is a good one that Nicole put in here. What is the main draw of Cedar Point? What is the number one main draw?
Roller coasters.
America's roller coasters.
When you get into conversations with anybody about Cedar Point, first thing that comes up, hey, did you go on Millennium Force? Or hey, did you go on this ride or that ride? That's Cedar Point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main draw to Cedar Point.
I agree. And that's why they we talked about this before, and my memory is horrible. Has it been 5 years since they added a coaster? What's the newest coaster at Cedar Point?
Valraven.
Which is
long.
Over a decade, isn't it?
Well, let's ask our coaster champion, Dave Chapman. What year did Valraven
It's been about 5 years, yeah.
5 years. I think they need to add. They need a little more aggressive coasters. If you know that the coasters brought you to the dance, I think you need a little more aggressive coaster schedule than 5+ years, and with not one even in the announcement stage. We're at 5 years now. Not even an announcement.
Actually, it's been 6. It says here 2016 it opened. So
yeah, that's what I thought. But we talked about last week how they're not even doing that. Even they're taking coasters out. They're not even building new ones.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with COVID and shutting them down for a year or whatever. But that really kind of set them back as far as new additions go. So I think in the meantime, their budget obviously isn't as big. They're just kind of adding these other things, like the restaurants and that.
I mean, we're in the Midwest. We are fat. I mean, so I guess restaurants, they're trying to appease us with restaurants. Okay, we're not going to give you a coaster, but here's some more long nuggets.
I got an idea for you.
Well,
how about a coaster that you can eat on?
I love it. You know what?
Will you have a table in front of you like?
Yes. Well, okay. What about this? Okay, go ahead, Dave.
I have an idea. Well, it's not my idea, but another park does it, and I think Cedar Point should take advantage of this. They have fine dining on a Ferris wheel at one of the parks, like one day a month or something. They have the Ferris wheel, and they have these like makeshift tables that they put into the Ferris wheel car, and like 4 people can sit in it, and they serve like prime rib and all this expensive food, and you just go around real slow on the Ferris wheel while you're eating. They get bottles. You get a bottle of wine. You got all this stuff, and it's like an extra upcharge.
That sounds amazing, but I hate Ferris wheels.
No, it's a great.
I don't hate them, but
okay. Let's say, Nicole, taking your idea. Let's say because a coaster is a 45-second ride. I don't know how you would eat on a coaster. No. What about another ride? What about a train ride? What about the train ride? What if they had a dining cars on the freaking train ride? You're welcome. There's more money right there. Cedar Point. I wouldn't.
Yeah, but are you? If you've been on the train, when you get into the station, those cars kind of shuffle. They're like bam, 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 a little bit. Can you imagine eating your food?
And then would the table look like one of those tables that you turn for the spinny rides? On the you turn it and it goes.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It's in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There's a restaurant where you're in like a teacup type ride, and then you're spinning it while you're eating.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, what could go wrong there, right?
I like the train idea. You get 2 trips to Boneville then.
Yeah.
Andrew, that's exactly what I was talking about just now. That's exactly what...
Love it.
So I want to just shout out in the chat here. Michael Hoover is going this weekend. It's his 18th wedding anniversary with his wife. So I just wanted to say happy anniversary on the air to him and congratulations.
Happy anniversary.
I've been married 18 years this year myself. So
congratulations.
no easy feat. And they're ticket of a lifetime holders. So super jealous of that. So
I do. This makes me, he brings up a great point. Michael Hoover says, where would they put them if they built them every 5 years? Which is, this is where David would kind of jump in. But I mean, where would they? Do you pull something? Do you have, okay, I guess there's different ways. You pull something out. They're not expanding the park right now. They're not, but they have extra room, but they couldn't
do.
Well, they have plenty of room. Plus, you got, certain things like coasters that they could tear out, just less popular ones. Like Wicked Twister, for example. They took that out to make some room there. I mean, the coasters don't last forever. They got a lifespan on them. Unless it's a wooden coaster, you're constantly rebuilding that. But like steel coasters only have a certain lifespan to them before.
Really?
Yeah. Before they need the metal fatigue and that starts kicking in. They x-ray these rides too.
Oh, wow.
Every once in a while to check for cracks, stress cracks, and all that stuff.
There's certain ones though that I hope that they never get rid of.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. But I wanted to kind of take, me, I'm going to take the Cedar Point stance a lot of times of there are very few parks that have continued to invest in bigger thrill rides as regularly as Cedar Point. So I think that maybe as a community, we're a little bit spoiled by Cedar Point because there typically always has felt like there was something new and exciting coming. So maybe we're spoiled. I don't know. But I think COVID it derailed everything. So I think the point to that is
I guess you're right. It's hard to compare. You can't compare life now for it being the same standards as you did life pre-COVID, at least for a couple of years. I mean, we're only a year or not even a year out. So, I mean, it's probably going to take time to get back on track. But now with everything else going on, gas prices and that, I don't know how that's affected their attendance. They're starting to recover from COVID. Now you got gas prices shooting through the roof.
So insane.
It looks like it is kind of affecting parks a little bit.
Is it kind of what you're feeling?
Yeah, because everybody was expecting parks to be absolutely slammed this year because everything's back to semi-normal, and parks have had their days where they've been slammed, but not like we thought. Like there's some Six Flags parks that this year people are showing me pictures, and it's like, oh, some of the attractions are walk-ons on Saturday.
Wow,
which is very weird.
Yeah, that's unheard of.
I mean, even last year on Saturdays, the same park had, hour plus lines for coasters.
Well, it brings me to Sunday. I said we're going to go there Sunday for Father's Day. I wonder if Father's Day is going to be busy, or no dads want to go to Cedar Point on Sunday, and you got to do what Dad wants to do. I'm guessing the park's going to be empty.
My dad wants to go to Cedar Point.
Really?
So.
I do too. I think we're in the minority though. Most want to be at home and relax or grill or do whatever. But so I'm interested. I've never been on Father's Day. It's going to be interesting to see if it's a busy day because all the dads want to go, or if it's a dead day because all the dads don't want to go.
Listen, dads,
are they doing anything for the fathers?
No.
Are the dads there? Are they doing any kind of like celebration? Or
I haven't seen anything.
I didn't think so.
I don't know. They need to. They need to.
They didn't do anything for Mother's Day.
That's okay. They need to.
Nobody even wished me a happy Mother's Day at Cedar Point on Mother's Day.
Oh man!
My child.
Your family, right? But I think for Father's Day they need to spice up that Lusty Lil show.
Well, they already did.
Good idea.
You just gotta go to Wild Frontier Night.
Father's Day edition of the Lusty Lil show. Little more
little show, yo.
Skin to win, Lusty Lil. Let's do this.
But so that's what I don't know. We haven't had anybody talk to us about too much about the Wild Frontier Nights, but on the Facebook fan page and pages and stuff, I definitely heard that they did take Lusty Lil's show to the over 21 crowd.
What?
So, oh yes, they did a special show for the over 21 crowd at Lusty Lil's. So if anybody is listening or wants to comment on the Facebook page, tell us about the show. Even better if you have some video. We would love to see what went down because we weren't able to get to.
Well, maybe that's why there is no video, because of what went down, huh?
And perhaps.
maybe they don't allow it. I don't know.
What happens at Lusty Lil's stays at Lusty Lil's. So
exactly.
I don't know. I didn't get to see it, so I can't comment for sure. That is hearsay and rumor. So
what is your favorite show at Lusty Lil? I mean, I'm sorry, at Cedar Point. On the mind. Point. The one I really liked was the dueling. They had the dueling piano show at Backbeat Barbecue, which I'm a dueling piano guy anyway, so I really enjoyed. I'll tell you. So they were talking about the dueling piano show at Backbeat Barbecue they had last year.
Okay,
so
that was pretty good.
I liked it. Yeah, I liked that one. And the kids that were doing it, the two guys, because we'd go often, and then I kind of stand out a little bit and whatever. So I kind of got to know the guys a little bit. And I was talking to one of them in between. He came over to our table, and he was saying, "Yeah." I said, "Well, so how do you get this gig?" I said, "Do you just apply, whatever?" I said, "Well, because him and the other guy, they gelled so well, looked like they were like best friends." He goes, I met him here, coming here. We were contract players. We got here a month ago. We've been doing it for a month. That's how I met the guy." I'm like, "Oh, really? You guys play off like your best buddies?" He goes, "No, it's just an actor." And I said, "Well,
like us."
Yeah, exactly.
Randomly throw us in a pile, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I asked him, "How do you get the gig?" And I guess they said that there's a third party company that staffs amusement parks with live entertainment. He had submitted a tape or whatever, so they put him at Cedar Point. And he said, "But I got to end my contract a little bit early this year." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because I got one of the lead parts in Beauty and the Beast at Disney." And he said, so he signed a 3-year contract. So he's going to be he's starting, I guess now, or he already started by now, but he got a part of Disney, and they give you housing and everything. I'm like, because I guess they're better than employees. They're considered talent, so they give him an apartment and everything there. He's got a 3-year contract. I'm like, that's a cool gig.
That's a good show too. I've seen it a few times. That's Beauty and the Beast live action show.
Yeah, he was a good guy. So, but anyway, that's a long story for. I really like the dueling piano show.
One of my favorites. It was Luminosity. The nighttime show that they have on the outdoor stage there. That was a good one. And then for the 50th last year, the 50th stage show that they did. That was wonderful. That was amazing.
Now,
what they did. And I hope it comes back this year.
We had talked about this one other time, Dave, but I think it's worth mentioning again. I had never seen a parade turn into a show. I'm talking Disney. I'm talking about the highest end attractions. And we talk about sometimes Cedar Point may be a little stagnant in their thinking. I thought that was brilliant. I don't know how, for those who don't know, who hadn't seen it, it was basically a parade. The parade would end at the stage, and then there would be a 30-minute stage show for the same performers that were in the parade. It was phenomenal. Just the Imagineering of it. Have you ever heard of anything similar to that, Dave, anywhere?
No. I mean, the closest thing is our Detroit parade you see on Thanksgiving morning, and then they have Santa Claus at the end. I mean, that's about it. But I've never seen them in a parade like that.
It's a great parade, but yeah, I wouldn't compare it to
it was just so high energy, I mean, it was something like you would see at Disney,
Yeah.
Like one of those Disney parades. It was just very high energy. Everybody really seemed to be into it. And then the show at the end was just the icing on the cake. I mean,
and it was a good show. I mean, it's just the whole. I mean, we had in the parade was interactive, and it was just really. It was one of the best things I've ever seen at Cedar Point. Kudos to them, because Go ahead, Nicole.
I was just gonna say I really loved how they showcased in that parade all the different it was showcasing Cedar Point through the years, so it had themed characters and time period based, and then the specific
and there was points in the parade where it would stop. And there was points in the parade where it would stop, and then the performers would go out in the crowd, grab your kids, bring them out there, and they could do some stuff. So it was interactive. It was a great parade. It was a great show at the end. I mean, that thing, very Disney.
I was cleaning up my van the other day, getting ready for the trip, and I went to the back.
That sounds creepy, Dave.
Yeah. And under the seat back there, I'm reaching under there to clean all the crap the kids dropped under there. And I felt a whole bunch of stuff. I'm like, what's this? I pulled a whole bunch of streamers from the parade because they went around and they were collecting all those streamers they'd shoot off, I must have a whole bag of streamers. I don't know how they got under the seat.
Because kids will pick up anything and they have to.
Yeah, I remember they used to grab them.
My kid likes rocks.
What happened to him?
One of my
rock.
She collects rocks. She got to get a rock from everywhere, and just random rock. Nothing doesn't have to be special. It's got to be a rock. It doesn't matter.
I will tell you that the rock collections in my house are extensive, and they remember where these rocks. The rocks all look the same, but they're like,
I know.
This one came from Florida. This one's from North Carolina. That's like.
Good.
Do you have indoor rocks, outdoor rocks, and car rocks?
Is that what she has? Some, yes.
No, thank God.
She has some to travel with her.
I don't have 14 contractor bags of Squishmallows either. I really feel for you. So your oldest is my youngest, so we're moving out of those days. Thank God.
So let me ask you guys this: do you think there should be more shows? Should the shows be updated a little more, or you think they're in the sweet spot? Go ahead, Nicole.
Full disclosure, I don't watch any of the shows. I don't care.
Wow.
I don't either.
I'm there to ride coasters. I don't watch the shows. This is actually a goal that I have for this summer, that one day I will go to the park and I will not ride any roller coasters because I haven't done that in so long, so that I can fully appreciate the entirety of the park and stop being so obsessive about riding the Big Five.
See, and I
don't think I can do it, but
I don't know.
I don't think I could do it either.
I don't know if it's the kid in me, but from being a kid and growing up around Disney and all that, I would love to see more shows. I'm a show guy, but I don't know. But here's the thing. In fairness to Cedar Point, we just talked about, hey, what brought you to the dance? It was coasters. So you put your money into coasters, and that's what you do. I mean, I guess you only have a certain amount of money you can spend, and if you're going to dump it over there, that's probably business wise, it makes the most sense. But I would like to see.
Well, totally. Coasters, they made their bed with the coasters. I mean, that's what got them to where they're at. But you also have to have things for other people in the family. People that don't ride coasters but still want to go to the park, or kids that aren't tall enough for the coasters, or maybe grandma wants to come to the park to see the kids one day,
Yep.
I mean, there's got to be options. And most of the shows I've seen there have been spot on. They've been pretty good. There's been a few stinkers over the years, but, every show I've gone to there's always a crowd for it. There's always a decent crowd. Some are so full that they stop letting people in,
They did a nice country review. It was over across from Panda Express, that theater right
Red
there.
Garter Inn,
Red Garter Inn. That's the only one I've seen.
That's a good show.
Just because it was so hot and it was a packed park day, and I was like, all right, I'll sit in here. They had a free water pitcher out, so I sat and drank water and watched the show. And it was a good show. I wasn't mad at it.
All right, there you go. Dave's Ride of the Week. What do you got, Dave?
We're going to go with Troika.
Troika.
Oh, man. That one's forgotten about. I actually like that.
My kids love that ride. Well, as some people call it Troika, because it says Troika 3 times. But it's a fun ride. Huss, or Hoos, however you pronounce it, German company manufactured it. And I don't know how long you guys have been going to the park, but years ago, Troika used to be located roughly where Dragster's entrance is now.
Right.
It used to be located right in that area. It used to be green and yellow, that paint scheme back then.
I think I remember that.
It was always one of my favorite rides when I was a kid, with all the lights on it, lighting up, and the arms. It's like so cool, going around.
If you weren't at the Gemini party in the 80s, you were at the Troika party.
Yeah.
That was the hot B in the 80s.
That was one of my favorite memories when I was a kid going to the park. My parents are like, we're walking towards the entrance. I think there was like 5 minutes before the park closed. And I'm like, I want to ride Troika. And they're like, no, let's just go. They're like, well, we're going to keep walking. Just come meet up with us by the front gate, And so I got on Troika, and the ride ended, and the lady's like, you want to go again? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go again.
Oh, yeah, they would do that to me too.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I got to ride twice, and that was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
For me. Yeah,
and you still were able to sprint to the front with them.
Yeah, exactly. And now, then they moved it over by, what's that?
It's a fair ride, too.
Good.
I was just going to say, describe the ride. So, like, for those who don't know it, describe the ride. So it's like a rotating ride.
Well, it's got 3 legs on it. Kind of look like grasshopper legs is what I always think of when I see them. And then on the end, they've got like a wheel, and there's a bunch of cars connected to the wheel. And the whole ride itself turns. And then the arms raise, and then the wheel that the cars are connected to also spin. And you're going around kind of like the scrambler.
Yeah.
Up off the ground.
And the spider. Isn't there one called the spider?
It's sort of like a mix of It's sort of like a mix of Scrambler with Monster, which is the spider octopus ride at Cedar Point as Monster. So it's kind of like those together. So you get a little, you get a little air time, you get a little spin. So
it's a fun ride. It's not one of those ones that are going to make you puke either. It's just enough.
I have a side note question for you guys. When I was out in California, we went to Universal Studios, and they were preparing for grad night, which is one night where all the high school kids, they celebrate from all over the area, come there. When I was a kid, Disney's grad night was a huge thing, and I think it still is. I think Universal's trying to pull some of those kids. Why is there no grad night at Cedar Point?
Because teenagers are jerks.
Teenagers are jerks.
I'm sorry. I do not mean that. I love teenagers.
No, I don't.
Caught me in a moment of weakness.
You're right, though. It's not that they're all jerks. It's just that some of them, when they get together, fight start and this and that. Majority of them are good. There's just a handful that.
They are.
But mine are the only ones that aren't. Then I guess.
Yeah.
The rest of them are good.
But they used to have some kind of grad thing at Cedar Point.
Did they?
Yeah. I wonder if they still do. I think that maybe we're just out.
Maybe
that's not our demographic.
Right. Maybe.
So, we have to get some young kids in here.
Not to switch gears real quick. I know we're getting close to the end here, but I know I brought up to you guys. I have found in my archives, the amusement park archives.
Yeah, you posted
in your van.
The disaster transport sounds.
Yeah, I got the disaster transport. When I worked there, I actually had a buddy that hooked me up. Back then, when that ride opened, it was on a laser disc. You guys remember laser disc?
Yes.
It was before, I think, compact discs were.
I don't know what those are. I'm not old enough.
It looks like a record, but it's silver. And it's,
Nice trying to call.
Yeah, you posted it in the chat. I saw it.
Yeah, it's so.
Yeah, but I can actually play part of my studio here. I can play a couple real quick for you.
Please.
For those of you that remember disaster transport, this may sound
DJ Dave, kick it live.
Welcome aboard. On your in-flight computer, I have been programmed to get you safely to the volatile receiving station. Stand clear of the cargo loading port.
Oh my God!
So cargo loaded. Switching to automatic launch sequence.
Here we got.
Johnny's
while you're on the ride.
I remember that noise.
So cool.
Let me see here. Hold on.
I'm losing control.
You recognize that one at the end?
Yes, I scream that every day in my regular life.
Losing control.
Yeah.
Orbit achieved.
I remember that.
Get ahead.
I definitely remember that one.
Yeah. at the very end.
Hey, yes. God, that is so cool, Dave.
Yeah, that was.
Well, it looks as if I brought another flight safely to its destination. Thank you for flying.
and thank you for
control.
And thank you for
remain seated until a dispatch master transport employee directs you to exit your vehicle.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, how cool is that? I mean,
send me those, Dave, if you can. A couple of them. I want to use them in the intro.
I'll see what I can do. My desktop is actually not running right now, which I do all that stuff on. I don't know what the heck happened to it. But I got everything.
That would be cool in the intro, though.
I know, right? That was awesome. That was fun, Dave. I loved it. All right, that's Dave's Ride of the Week. That's the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. For Dylan, for Dave Chapman, for Music Park Portal, our executive producer Nicole, I'm Andrew Z. Donnie will be back next week. We'll talk to you guys later. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. Make sure you tell a friend about the show. Make sure you share the show, but do your likes and shares and comments and all that stuff. We appreciate it. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.